Hello, my IMers. I'm greeting people like this because I just did my nails. What? Anyways, if you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Sadie. Remember to like, subscribe if you like. Also turn on those notifications if you like. And if it's the first time joining as well, you won't recognize the space. But if it's not your first time, we've had Lucky before. Lucky, how are you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm disappointed that you came late.
But
let's blame load shedding. It's fine.
It's load shedding. Let's blame it on that.
Let's blame our government for everything. Yes. Man, how you doing?
I'm all good. I can't complain.
How have you been doing since our business analyst episode? Did you get job offers?
You made me a little bit famous. So
really?
When I walk into interviews, they're a little bit more harder though.
But they must get their money's worth to make sure that you're not just selling dreams, more television.
I'm trying, but it's been good since our last interaction.
Okay.
So I can't complain.
And how's COVID been treating you? Not that you had COVID.
Not that I had COVID. Unfortunately, I mean, you know people who had it, and it's sad, but other than that, me, healthy, and went back to sports.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of which, who is Lucky? You're now into sports, you're doing sport. Just give a synopsis for people that don't know you.
I mean, Lucky is just a simple guy who is, trying to get by, life as it is. Yeah. I'm from a small town called Zeerust in the northwest.
Really? Oh my word.
It's a one street town.
I know. What's that other street again? There's Zeerust and there's that starts with an S. What is it? The only town. What is that? What is that? It starts with an S.
There's Swatergeens.
Yes,
like those.
There are Swatergeens. I got lost there, but anyway.
So it's a one street town, about an hour away from the border of Gaborone or Gaborone, as you guys.
Who's you guys?
You guys in Gauteng call
I'm actually from Botswana, so calm down.
Dumel.
Like that.
So schooled in Zeerust in a small township as well called Ikageling Township. Did my grade 1 until grade 12 there. Then eventually had an opportunity. Parents being parents, hustled, got me through varsity at the University of Pretoria, and geez, the
now
rest
you're
is
an analyst at different financial institutions.
Yeah,
but what brings you here today?
So what brings me here today is as you go on with life, like I was telling you, I mean, I'm here because of the non-profitable organization that, we're trying to push in my community. As it is, it's Lemao Le Le Monate.
I mean, Lemao Le Le Monate.
Nothing sexual about it.
I didn't say anything sexual about it. I just want to know. I mean, it sounds like a very, laughing my ass off like a Lemao. That's what we say. What is Lemao Le Le Monate? How did it start? What does it mean?
So Lemao Le Le Monate, it's like we spoke previously, it's a build-up of a whole lot of things that I've done throughout my life, especially since I finished my grade 12. You look back at your community and you figure, flip, there's a lot of things going on, there's a lot of drugs going on, there's early pregnancies, and it's very sad. I guess it's the life of a township. Given an opportunity by parents to go to University of Pretoria and opportunities opening up, you figure as a person that, hey, what can I do for my community? And that's when Lemao Le Le Monate sort of started. But it started with what we called going back to school campaign, where we used to go to our high school as alumni, and we motivated the grade 12s.
Is this the schools contacting you guys, or you taking the initiative to say, listen, I'm big now, sort of. I want to tell them it's possible. How did that start?
It started with taking an initiative.
Okay.
Where I'm like, I mean, this is my hood. If we don't take charge of it, we might get, marked in our own township. I mean, the very same corner that I grew up in, to have fun, it's now used for pushing a substance that is actually killing the kids, right? So took an initiative, and it just started like that in 2013 when I started working at one of the investment banks, and every year just went on like that. to a point where, as I was doing it, an organization was started in my hood called Ikageng Foundation. Ikageng Foundation was started by the sort of the elites of my township.
Bolina, so.
Not me. I'm way too young. I wish.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it was people who are slightly older than me who figured, we brothers to these kids, we uncles to these kids. Let us start something that they can look up to and you can help them, because they're doctors, and not just doctors, specialists. They're not just lawyers. They judges. In their own respects, they're doing well academically. So me being me, I joined, and they're like, hey, you young, just be part of the board, and you'll be our secretary, and you'll be the face of the organization. So went to do an interview at a radio station, local radio station, and this guy is a presenter there and said, yo, I've been looking for someone like you, I've heard the good things that you're doing, and can we work together? So the name of the radio show and the radio station, the name of the radio station is Bokonebo Pirima FM. Right? Bokonebo Pirima FM, they've got the show called Injection, it's Rush Hour, but there's a segment called Injection Time. This is where Injection Time comes from.
By the way, I genuinely thought you were giving vaccines and stuff.
I don't
What is with the name?
Yeah, so with the name, this guy was saying, you know what, I'm injecting anything that's positive to my listeners. It's a morning show. I want them on Tuesday to be pumped up and be motivated, and that was the drive. As he approached me and offered me this opportunity, I said, I've been doing a show or a channel called Untitled Monate. I would like to analyze this thing. What is this injection time thing? Then Lemao Le Le Monate came about.
Yes.
So Lemao Le Le Monate is basically, we're injecting hope, we're injecting kindness, we're injecting good things in our community through the radio station and through this segment on the radio station. So we did that starting when COVID started.
Is it?
Yeah, when COVID started, we're like, what can we do for our community as this organization, as Lemao Le Le Monate? And we started by buying sanitizers, soaps for the schools around Ikageng Township.
Is the focus mainly on the youth or like very young kids? So when you say school, what grade are we looking at? High school, primary school?
The first project was, because it was a pandemic driven, we're like, let's focus on all the schools. The primary school, it's the primary school, the middle school, and the high school. So we bought about 20 liters, 520 liters of sanitizer, soap, and gloves and whatnot, PPEs, basically, for the school. And then, it caught on. People saw that we were, genuinely trying to do something good for our community. Then in December...
How did you fund it? Sorry.
Oh, yes. So funding it was from us, the individuals in the group. And what was surprisingly and very... was humbling and a blessing was flip. We were about 30 people and we kind of raised about 10 to 11,000.
Right?
In about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And
it's like proper. It's like crowdfunding.
Like it's proper crowdfunding. And these guys were like, because it comes from the heart to our hood. Why not? And that was very humbling, and we ran with that. And fast forward
to December.
To December now. In December, that's when Lemao Le Le Monate, as a segment on the radio, you hear people being proud of it. You hear people talking about it in a positive light. And I said to this guy, yo, maybe we could push this thing a little bit further. I said, I've got a guy who can design t-shirts, a logo for us and t-shirts for us. Let's push it. It's not
See
a
what
big
happens,
deal.
yeah.
Because when I started with 2 t-shirts.
Yeah.
One for myself, one for him.
Yeah.
And we had like a video that would launch the Lemao Le Le Monate page on Facebook, right? Jiggy jiggy, we on Facebook. People are like, nee, man, we liking this Lemao Le Le Monate thing.
Did they understand what it's for? No,
You know,
just teasing.
they sort of understood what it was for, what was the product for, but not necessarily what it meant, right? But what it stood for, what it was trying to do, they sort of had an idea, because in our intro we kind of said it all.
Yeah.
Cool, jiggy jiggy, people want t-shirts.
And then
Then I'm there and I'm like, my guy, the first project with the funds that we're gonna get, we have to do something positive. We have to give to our community.
Yeah.
The guy said, how? Linda, I'm all good for that. This is not about the money.
Yeah.
It's about selling these, the proceeds, like literally, all the proceeds go to an organization that is identified. Yeah. And we just, try to
How do you
give back.
Pick which, where you're taking the money to? Because I mean, this is South Africa. You look at every corner, and like not even South Africa. This is the world. Like people need help everywhere you go. How do you pick the organization or the cause that you want to give back to, and like what is your actual mandate?
Yes. So how we do it is very simple. We choose projects, or we choose organizations that are very close to our hearts, and that are youth and kids driven. Looking at the one in December, we said people are having fun. People are having fun. And there's this orphanage close to my house that I hardly knew about. And I went there and I said, what can we do? How can we help? And that's what we did. It's something that is very close to my heart, very close to my partner's heart. And we just said, what can we do for these kids? Every kid on the block having new clothes, having a toy in December. Can we do something like that for them to feel that, somebody out there.
Who December.
Yeah. We did that with the help of our local Pick and Pay store. So that's when we hey, let us approach people. Got funding from individuals as well. Got the proceeds for the t-shirt. It was about $2,500.
Yeah.
Pop out my own money. He popped out his own money. We got funding from other friends and family and people that we know, and Pick and Pay came through as well. And that's how the second project went. Yeah. And people wouldn't understand, on social media. And we said what we do is not for the public. We don't publicize it. We don't put it on public. We don't put it on social platform. We just talk to the investors or the donors or whatever you may call them. Do a video for them. This is what we've done. These are the receipts. This is what your money has done for these kids. So that is how it is. Now we're looking at schools.
High schools, primary schools, or just all schools?
All schools.
Okay.
Now we starting with primary schools, where we're running another project of what can we do for our primary schools, and we said maybe we can look at top 6 high performing students, right?
I have a problem with that.
Yeah. It's fine.
Let me tell you why, right?
It's fine. It's
like
fine.
it's like you have to pick something, right? True. The top kids, yes, they should be rewarded as they definitely should. They're top 6.
True.
But now these ones that have some kind of potential, that are like the middle income, middle class,
the forgotten one.
Yes, so it's like because it's like the one that they need to try and stand, because I don't think there's stupid kids or kids that aren't trying hard. Like a lot of the time it's just like you're not teaching them the right way.
True.
There's something going on at home. So now they're the forgotten, like what is it called again?
I totally understand.
Yeah,
those are the
fine, top
forgotten.
six, but
yes,
like,
you know, you're looking at top six that really put in so much effort, right?
Yes.
In what they were taught. And,
yes,
you know?
yes.
And you have these kids that we're not forgetting as well. Hence, I was telling the guy that I work with that maybe these kids need an extra book. Maybe these kids need study guides.
Yeah,
maybe
or they just need food.
Or maybe they just need food. We need to now look deeper into why aren't these kids doing as good as they should. So us focusing on the top six for now, it's just the start.
A start, okay.
We're looking at looking deeper into what can we do for these kids to perform to the ultimate best. Because I totally agree with you. There is no kid
because also it becomes like you focus on the top six. A lot of people focus on the top six, right? It's not just like your organization.
Yes.
And there's like animosity with the other kids, like, oh, they only look at the best one. So whatever I do doesn't really matter.
I was one of those forgotten kids.
And look at you now.
I was one of those
look at you now going
kids.
against the forgotten kids. I'm joking.
You know, so and I try to use the same things that people have done for me.
Yeah.
If we've started now going even to primary schools where we sort of sit with these kids and motivate them, talk to them in a language that they understand. That's what we're doing. We started with grade 12s and grade 11s. Now we're going to primary schools. And I must tell you, going to primary school for me personally is the most fantastic thing you could ever do, because you see these kids while they're still raw, and you can exhume and pull out the best out of them while they're still young.
They're still young.
So while we edit, maybe the viewers out there can help. We're looking for a psychologist that could sit with these kids.
You can just watch IM. We've got psychologists.
Exactly.
We've got teachers. We've got analysts. We've got listen, you say
for me that's the future, where I said to a lot of people that I've worked with in these projects that, Flip, guys, when I was in primary school, we were running around and
just being kids,
can I have somebody who can come to the primary school that I went and do these nice gardening things, so that when they walk out of a class, they walk out of a class with roses and with grass running around. That would be fantastic. And those are the little...
It's the little things, and they actually go quite a long way.
They go quite a long way.
Like you look at townships and there's no flowers in the classes, or like outside, and it's like normal.
Exactly.
But anyway.
So
why the decision to start your own thing? Because I mean, you started off what did you say, Ross?
So we started with going back to school campaign and Ikageng Foundation.
Yes. So why not have Ikageng Hamonate or something like that, rather than starting your own thing?
Yes. So I mean, for me to start this, it was more of an identity. When you have a board of people, it's a little bit tricky, and it's a little bit lengthy to take decisions.
In terms of the stuff you want to do. Okay,
yes, and of the stuff that you want to do. So if you have yourself and another person, the decisions are made right here and there, where, you know what, this needs much attention. We don't have to wait 3-6 months for the board to come together and do this thing. So
until you become that big, and people that have volunteered,
and I think we are a generation of technology, and technology has made things easier for us. So bureaucracy is something of the past, in my opinion. Let us just sit down. This is important. Take a decision, and let's move on.
Let's move.
So that's why I took this route.
Okay, that makes sense then. So, I mean, if you don't have to answer this, but it would help if you did. What's your plan, or because you mentioned that you would like psychologists and things like that. Like, what's your how do you see Lemao growing or being in the future? Like, is it something that I, let's say, if I've got time, I pop up, or you want people that are invested time-wise to be there long term? Like, how do you see it looking?
Yeah. So, like I said, Lemao started off as a segment, or still is a segment on a radio station.
What happens in the segment? I know you just motivate, but do you say, this week we're going to go to Skola Kai, or do you say, if you can dream it, you can achieve it? Like, how does that segment look like? Because I can't get a hold of BBFM. I cannot.
I wish I was that, fluent. But what we do in that segment is we motivate across board. We not just motivation, we give hope as well. I remember when it was the month of August, we literally took the month of August and stretched it out to talk about women who are doing great things.
Okay, got you.
And motivating young girls to look up to these women. You look at the month of November, it was Movember, it was disability, it was all these things. Cancer. We look at those things and we say, there might be cancer, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
There might be disability. I mean, the guy that I do the show with is a person living with disability. And he's the most incredible radio presenter you ever meet. And you sit there and you're like, dude, if only people could understand that your hands are not working as my hands are working, but you're not just sleeping on your passion.
Yeah.
And that's
not
those are
sorry for yourself.
Not feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Those are the things that we're pushing. So we look at it, from a blanket point of view of motivation, and we're going deeper into flip, man. There's pregnancy in our community. Where can we get help? How can we help?
Okay.
Type of vibe.
Okay.
Yes.
So back to the original question before I sort of interjected.
Yes.
What is the plan?
So the plan is to see Lemao Le Le Monate actually injecting hope in our communities. My dream, personally, let's go back to schools. My dream in my township schools is for them to run like private schools that we see wherever.
Body Saint Mamang.
Body Saint Mamang. Because the Saint Mamang, the only difference between us and the Saint Mamang is the fact that they've got resources. And resources come from individuals. So I'm trying to get as many people as possible to go back, not just their communities, even outside their communities, to go back to their communities and actually inject hope in their communities. It doesn't hurt for you to go back to the high school that made you who you are, and they don't want money. Just tsenya festere A1 in the classroom so that the kids won't feel cold in winter. That is what we're saying. We're saying if you've got a little bit of extra cash, you don't have to give it to the school. No, just hire people who will cut the lawn so that kids can play on the lawn. So the long term is seeing beautiful things happening firstly in our schools. And secondly is using the same spirit and spreading it in communities. Because I believe that once you change the way a kid thinks inside a classroom, when they walk out, they feel a sense of pride that this is my school. And when they walk into the community, they think, this is my community. Why should I be breaking doors of a public hall and banning clinics? So we're really, really trying to change a mindset. And in a long term, I met a guy who said to me, Lucky, I know you're passionate about this. But imagine if we had to change the smell of the place of the school from from entry level. Give them that orientation of ownership from grade 8.
Because I was actually about to ask you that it doesn't have come into the school and then you leave. How are the learners involved in actually making the school better? Is that something you're also looking at?
Yes, that's what we will also look. That is why we spoke about psychologists, right?
I don't know.
So we said, if you look at all these great schools, what they firstly do is they make you think like a CEO. That's it. They make you think like a leader.
Real talk. Like in primary school, we had entrepreneurship day.
Yes.
Every month.
Yes.
Yeah.
They make you feel, they're like, Lucky, you are in our school. These are our rules.
Yeah.
And let's abide by them and you will be a star.
Yeah.
By the way, you are a star. All you have to do is to follow these
Thank
rules.
you.
And that's how you change how they think, right?
Yeah.
From grade 8, entry
Yeah.
level. By the time they're in grade 12, the grade 12s are being looked up to by the new grade 8s.
Yes.
Come on. The environment
then
has changed.
quite different,
The school has changed.
Yeah.
The students themselves are holding each other accountable.
Yeah. And then how are the teachers involved, if they are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole, and that's why I always go back to my high school, in Ikageng High School. The principal, the teachers are involved. When I say at short notice, I haven't found time at work to come through on time. Can you make time for me? They like drop
On board, yeah.
Like they drop everything. And teachers are not even saying, hey, keep period their maths. You can't
Yeah.
make, no.
Yeah.
They make that time
Yeah,
because they
that's
know
good.
and they understand that it's nice to see somebody who was here, the same class, same teachers, and doing a little bit better.
Yeah.
So they're so involved.
Yeah.
And even when I go back to my primary school,
Yeah.
the teachers are so involved.
Yeah.
And they just love, the things that we're trying to do and support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I wish I was at your school. My school was not like it was. I'm joking. Okay, so what is your call to action for the rest of the people? For people that are sort of just like, I did my time, I'm done with primary school, I'm done with high school, I'm living my best life. What would you say to them where, obviously we have come from different backgrounds completely.
Yeah, true.
So what do you have to say to somebody like that that's just like, I'm doing me?
No, I meet a lot of people who would say, I'm doing me.
Yeah.
That is fine.
Yeah.
But the side effects of I'm doing me, especially when you come from a township, are very bad. In a sense that I wouldn't like to go back to my hood and be marked, right?
Yeah.
And that is what this mentality creates. And because we move away from our townships and we go into towns, where do you think nice things are for these kids to come get? Where you say you're gonna go, you're gonna stay, right? Because you're like, there's a toxic environment.
This is not my problem.
It's not my problem. It's
Yeah.
a toxic environment. I'm gonna run away to Sandton, or I'm gonna run away to Rosebank.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Or Alex, and I mean, it's, that's right next to Sandton.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
And the fact of the matter is the way our towns and our cities are structured, the affluent and the not so affluent are literally being separated by a road or by a railway.
Yeah.
Something
the
that you
Gini
can
coefficient is way too high.
So the best way to cap that inequality is for you as an individual to say, flip, if I go back to my community and contribute 200 rand that I was going to possibly use for a takeaway, it doesn't kill you. It doesn't kill you to say there's a kid who doesn't have shoes, and if they don't have shoes, they might not go to school.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to give this 200 rand because it's all about me, there's a girl who needs sanitary pads who's not going to go to school, right? And if they're not going to school, what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah.
They're gonna come to you.
Yeah, it's a ripple effect.
Things.
Yeah,
it's a ripple effect. That's the painting I'm trying to, or the picture that I'm trying to show to you.
Yeah.
Right. So to those people, I would just like them to reconsider, think differently. And I liked what Denzel Washington once said. He said, "The most wonderful feeling and selfish feeling you could ever feel, flip, is helping another person. You know how that good feels and how that makes you feel. More so, if it makes you feel that way, imagine what it does
to the next
person.
Man.
Like it's all that I'm trying to say to a person who thinks that way.
Yeah.
That think a little bit different.
Yeah.
Helping out. I normally, people would say, is it about the money?
Yeah.
For me,
What money?
Since 2013, I've never had money. But all I had was my time, and that's the greatest, that's the greatest commodity you could ever give, especially to the school that you're from or to your community. It really warms my heart to meet the students that I went back to school and motivated, and they come back to me and they're like, "Shit, dude,
that talk helped.
Dude, you came and that's the most wonderful feeling, because I know there's a household in that community that has someone to provide to them.
Yes.
And we have one less criminal in my community.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do people then get involved, or where can they contact you afterwards? Can we go to www.lemao
Le Le Monate. So we
or how can people also help? Like
Yes.
just providing money, because there's a lot of initiatives.
Yeah. Yes.
How do people get then more information as to what particular things they can be involved in? Because also I don't want it to be a thing of, because yet Zeras is in Northwest. I don't want people to think that they have to go to Northwest to help. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
how do we get hold of you?
Yeah.
What can we do?
So we have a page on Facebook called Lemao Le Le Monate. So we have it on Instagram as well. Twitter, I'm not good at Twitter, but we.
Okay, what's your handle? We'll put it there, or is it the same across all socials?
It's the same across.
Okay,
all
that's better. But where are you most responsive?
So we're most responsive on Facebook.
Okay, that's good.
That's where we are. Then we communicate. We have a Gmail account as well if people want to get hold of us.
What's the Gmail account?
The Gmail account is b3smsa@gmail.com.
Okay,
Yeah.
why that name? Just random. B3SAFM.
B3SM
Oh, SA.
SA@gmail.com.
Okay, lucky. Okay, lucky.
It's short for Buasetswana Sesemonate.
Oh, where does the 3 come from?
Because it's the 3 S's. Sesemonate.
Oh.
Setswana Sesemonate.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's besides the point. So that's how people can get a hold of you?
They can get hold of us that way. I really don't mind having people communicating with me on WhatsApp as well, as long as it's strictly for us.
What if somebody wants to marry you and they're rich and they'll help you elevate?
I don't have time. Like, I honestly, it's weird. It's weird when you're so passionate about something.
Yeah.
You feel like you don't have enough time, right? I literally feel like, Flop, if I don't sell these t-shirts, there's a kid who probably...
Where do we get the t-shirts?
So you get the t-shirt when you...
Can I order on Facebook?
So you can order on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll send you an invoice. You confirm that everything is all good as your specifics on your invoice. You deposit the money, 50%. Then we find a way to courier it to you wherever you are. But because I like putting a personal touch on it, if you're around Joburg or somewhere close, I'd rather show my gratitude by delivering the shirt.
This is why you're busy.
This is why.
You're busy driving around.
Exactly.
But Lucky, thank you so much. Anything in closing that I might have forgotten to ask, or you wanted to say in closing, maybe another Denzel Washington quote? I don't know. No, because I think we take for granted giving back. Immediately when I started varsity, it was just after this Papa, I was like, after this, you need to see how you're helping.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that for a long time because I'm I'm doing me.
Yeah.
But now I get it now. As soon as I turned 25, I was like, this is a real thing, this life thing.
It is.
But yeah.
Anything from me, I don't have a lot. Just to say to people out there, for us to make our communities better, we have to make ourselves better. Don't try and carry the whole community on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Because there's specific doors that with your whole community you won't be able to go through, right? So get yourself sorted. Once you sorted, don't forget where you come from.
Thank you. I feel better.
Yeah. Don't forget where you're from.
Yes.
And I don't mean financially. I mean mentally, I mean physically, I mean spiritually. For me, it took it as far as spiritual and mentally, where I'm like, flip, I'm in the right set of mind. Now, how can I help? So get yourself to that point, because if you don't, it will feel like a burden and you won't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And man, don't sleep on your passion. If your passion, I generally believe that if you push your passion, you can push other things that will help your community. How many of us are basketball players, are cricket players, all these other things, karatekas, and you do that and you realize there's a kid who's a karateka or a soccer player in my township, and I'm in Joburg and I have friends who can make things happen, right? So tap into that and run with it and help out where you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what they say a lot is if you don't want it, you'll make excuses. And if you really want it, you'll find a way. So we are out. Remember to like, subscribe, and get a hold of Lucky Man. Let's see how we can make South Africa better. We out.
Thank you.